Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our March 15th meeting of the Cobb County Board of Zoning Appeals. And as is our custom at this time, I'd like to bring Mr. Dave Braden, if he would please step forward. And ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Braden is here to represent all the employees of Cobb County. If we'd all please rise, he will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you, Mr. Braden. Folks, for those of you that are here for the first time, let me give you a little insight on how we're going to conduct the meeting today. The first thing that we will concern ourselves with is the consent agenda. These are applications that not only this board has reviewed, but our professional and engineering staff have reviewed. To our knowledge, there's no known opposition to these particular cases. So as we go forward, Mr. Peterson, our head zoning administrator, will read each one of these cases into the record. And as he does, as the applicant, he or she will identify themselves by raising their hand. Likewise, if there is anybody here in opposition, if they would identify themselves by raising their hand, we will pull that particular case and hear it in its regular numeric order. The next situation we go into is our continued cases. We will hear those. And then we get into our regular cases. Again, once we get into the regular and the continued cases, Mr. Peterson will read these into the record. Again, the applicant will identify themselves, and likewise, the opposition will identify themselves. At that time, our officer today is Ms. Bates. Those of you that are going to give us testimony, if you would come forward, Ms. Bates will swear you in. All testimony will be given to, will be handled at the podium to my right. At that time, the applicant will have a 10-minute period to make their presentation to this board. And likewise, collectively, those in opposition will also have a 10-minute period. So be cognizant of the fact that you only have a 10-minute period as we go through if you have more than one speaker. With that said, I'm going to turn to Mr. Peterson now to ask Mr. Peterson if he has any special comments to make at this time. John?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. There is one case on today's printed agenda which has been withdrawn and will not be heard today. That's variance case V27, A.J. Romani. That case was withdrawn by staff, will not be heard today. Additionally, Mr. Chairman and Board, there was a request late last night to withdraw variance case of V21, Peter Wagner. So the staff would ask the board to consider withdrawing that without prejudice.
Okay, I believe Mr. Brian McDaniel represents those districts, so I'll turn it over to you, Sir Brian.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Chairman. I know both sides have worked to come up with a mutually agreeable solution, and I want to thank them both for trying, and I also want to thank Roger Phelps for his involvement in this case. As it stands, I understand the applicant plans to cut his fence to be in compliance with code, so, Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to allow for the withdrawal of the application in case V21 without prejudice.
Okay, that's the case V21. I have a second by Ms. Williams. No other comment. I'll call for the vote. And we will agree to that 5-0 for that case to be withdrawn. How about without prejudice? Yes. V27, John, who has that case?
That case has been withdrawn already.
Withdrawn, so we're finished with
So we're
that.
done with
Okay.
that one.
All right, John, go right ahead. It's your podium.
Yes, sir. I would like to ask the people in today's audience, if you have a cell phone, please turn it off. I'll put it on silent mode. The ringing does interfere with the broadcast and presentation. So if you have a cell phone, please put it on silent mode. Additionally, the following announcement concerns variance applications requesting a reduction in lot size or road frontage relating to the official code of Cobb County, Chapter 134, adopted by the Board of Commissioners on July 28, 2015. Applicants are advised that variance applications requesting a reduction in lot size or public road frontage, which are approved by the Board of Zoning Appeals, takes the form of a recommendation to the Board of Commissioners, who makes the final determination whether to grant the special exception for the requested lot size reduction or road frontage reduction. There's one case on today's agenda which this applies, and that's variance case of V17, BEB Investments LLC. The applicant or representative is instructed that if the Board of Zoning Appeals approves this variance, A representative would need to be present at the Board of Commissioners zoning hearing on Tuesday, April 18th, 2017, at 9 o'clock for a final determination. With that, Mr. Chairman, I'm ready to start the consent agenda.
Okay, John, let's just jump right in.
Thank you. Cobb County Board of Zoning Appeals, variance hearing consent agenda for March 15th, 2017. Variance case V17, BEB Investments LLC request a variance to waive the minimum road frontage from required 75 feet to 5 feet for Lot 2. Allow 3 homes to have no public road frontage to access off a private easement for lots 3 through 5. Require lot size, reduce the required lot size for a lot off a private easement from 80,000 square feet to 75,358 square feet for Lot 3. And 4, waive the front setback for lots 2 through 5 from required 50 feet to 45 feet. And land lot 259 of the 20th District. The property is located on the west side of Ackworth Due West Road, north of Brigade Trail. The Board of Zoning Appeals recommends approval, subject to the letter from Mr. Garvis L. Sams Jr., dated March 10th, 2017, with the deletion of paragraph number 5. Site plan dated March 3rd, 2017. Site plan review comments and stormwater management comments. The applicant's representative is present. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V17? Let the record show there's no one opposed. Variance case V23, James B. Glover, V, request a variance to allow an accessory structure, a proposed approximately 400 square foot carport to be to the side of the principal building, waive the rear setback for an accessory structure for a proposed approximately 400 square foot carport from 35 feet to 10 feet, and allow parking and/or access to the parking areas in a residential district on a non-hardened surface in land lot 290 of the 20th District. The property is located on the north side of Burnt Hickory Road, east of Wallace Farms. Staff recommends approval. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V23? Let the record show there's no opposed. Variance case V26, Badger family, request a variance to waive the setbacks for an accessory structure over 650 square feet for a proposed 1,290 square foot sport court, required 100 feet to 10 feet adjacent to the eastern property line, 47 feet adjacent to the western property line, and 59 feet adjacent to the northern property line in land lot 55 of the 1st District. The property is located on the north side of Andrea Point, on the south side of Post Oak Tritt Road, north of Walden Lane. Staff recommends approval, subject to the site plan contained in the variance analysis. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V26? Let the record show there's no one opposed. Variance case V28, Ian Carr, request a variance to waive the major side setback, required 20 feet per previous variance V67 of 2014 to 10 feet adjacent to the southern property line in land lot 35 of the 20th District. The property is located on the eastern side of Old Ackworth Dallas Road, north of an unopened Cobb County right-of-way, east of Lake Drive. Staff recommends approval, subject to site plan review comments and stormwater management comments. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V28? Let the record show there's no one opposed, and that completes consent agenda, Mr. Chairman and Board.
Okay, it's back to this board. Does anybody wish to discuss any of these particular cases? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve that.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I have a motion to approve the consent agenda and a second. Any other comments? Not hearing any. I call for the vote. All signify by voting. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, that's a 5-0 vote. All right, folks, those of you that were on the consent agenda, your business is complete with us today. We appreciate you coming. As you leave quietly. We'll continue our business. John, with that said, let's go to our regular cases.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. Variance case V24, Maria E. Galvin, request a variance to allow an accessory structure, an existing approximately 570 square foot carport to be to the front of the principal building, and a 120 square foot existing shed number 1 to be to the side of the principal building. Waive the front setback for an accessory structure under 650 square feet for an existing approximately 576 square foot carport to require 35 feet to 15 feet, and to waive the side and rear setbacks for an accessory structure under 650 square feet for an existing approximately 238 square foot shed number 2, from required 10 feet, 2 feet adjacent to the eastern property line, and from required 35 feet to 32 feet adjacent to the rear property line, in land lot 122 of the 17th district. Property is located on the north side of Terrace Drive, west of Plantation Road. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V24? Let the record show there's no one opposed. Would the applicant please come forward to be sworn in?
All right, sir, for the purpose of the record, if you would, please give us your name.
My name is Walter Manuel Galvin.
Walter, okay? Tell us what you want, Walter.
Basically, at this property, we have a carport that's been there for about 13 years. And the tool shed, the two tool sheds are there, one to the side, I'm guessing is one, and then the second one is in the back. Basically, we just want to keep those existing. We never knew exactly the variance clearings and all this matter and whatnot. But yes, we just want to keep them. The carport actually acts as a good protector for the vehicles. Whenever we have like inclement weather, hail, bad storms. Other than that, I mean, it's pretty professionally built. We own a construction company, so we make sure everything's up to code building them. But other than, variance wise, we were ignorant to the knowledge of it. Other than that, I mean, it's just, it's just there.
Okay, a little more information. How long have you lived in a house? How long ago was the carports built, the other buildings? Do you have any idea on those?
Yeah, the house we've owned, I'm the youngest of our siblings. I'm a tenant there. The carport, like I said, it's probably been there about 13 years. I'm not really even too certain how long it's been there. The back tool shed is actually the oldest. It's been there since we've owned the house.
And how long is that? How long have you had the house been in your family?
I'm 24, so probably 26 years.
Okay.
30 years, something like that. Something like, because my oldest brother's 31.
Okay.
And so, I mean, as long as I know, we live there.
And how long ago did you build the carports?
The carport's probably been there 13 years.
Okay. Anything else you want to tell us, Walter?
It's not much. I mean, it's just carport, a good looking carport. I have pictures if you guys would like to see them up in person. Would you like to see them?
Okay. Bring them on. Yes, sir, you can. Oh, no, I tell you what, go back up there. You see that good-looking guy sitting there with a headset on?
Yes, sir.
Give it to him, and he'll put it up for us. Ladies and gentlemen, we have state-of-the-art AV equipment here that
Yeah, it's
Uh,
Cornelius operates. All right, you want to tell us what we're looking at, sir,
Right
Walter?
here. Yeah. Right here this is the front of the property. We have a fence. This is the home, and the carport's located on the right side.
Okay.
That's just the first picture. That's just a street view
Okay.
coming into it. This is it. Oh, there you go. There's another one. That's first entry, and then carport to the right. And then here's another. This is directly looking at it from the front side.
Okay.
Pretty.
All right, is that it?
I mean, there's more if you guys want to see more. Unless-
Well, sure. Right.
This is it from the inside to show the.
Cornelius, turn that around.
There you go. Oh, there you go. No, other way.
Keep
Other way.
going. The brown,
There you go.
the brown is up. There
Joist
you
and
go.
beams, yeah.
Very good. Anything else? Any more, Cornelius?
There's another one. I just took as many as I could.
Good.
You can show there's some tool shed. Well, you can see the tool shed in the back on that one.
Okay. Walter, anything else you want to tell us? Okay, for the purpose of the record, is there anybody here in opposition to case V24? Hearing and not seeing anybody, Miss Monique Sheffield represents that district. I'm going to turn it over to Monique.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for the photos.
Yes, ma'am.
I attempted to reach out to Maria, but her voicemail wasn't set up, and I sent her a text, and she didn't respond. So there are a few things I wanted to talk to her about
Yes, ma'am.
before today, but that's fine, we'll just deal with it now. Question, the fence, did you guys place the fence there, or was it there when you moved in the home?
I believe it was there when we got the house.
Okay, do you have a survey for the fence?
For the fence, no, ma'am.
Okay, all right, so with respect to the property, there are just a few things. Number one, you need to obtain a permit for the second shed, which is the shed that's in the back. Also, the fence sits on the right-of-way, so that's going to have to be removed. That will give you 60 days to correct the fence issue and 30 days to obtain the permit for the building. The shed must also have a 1-hour fire rated on it, because considering the distance to where it is at the house, it just needs to be protected. So we'll need for you to have that done within that same 30 days that you acquire the permit. So other than that, I make a motion to approve based on the staff recommendation and comments.
Okay, I've got a motion to approve. Do I have a second? Second, okay, discussion. Walter, I'm sorry, oh, okay. Walter, what Ms. Sheffield is saying, your fence is out of, we can't approve the fence because it's on the right of way. Now, you can move the fence back. In order to do that, you probably need to get a survey to make sure it's back on your property.
Okay.
So that's what it is. You have to remove it from where it is, but you can put it in the back.
Okay.
The other situation, as Monique has described to you, is the fire rating on that smaller, I believe it's the smaller of the two sheds.
It's the larger.
The
of
large
two
one.
sheds.
That basically is because you're within a 5-foot property line, and that's an ordinance of the county. It has to be a fire-rated wall. If that was a manufactured shed from Home Depot or Lowe's or something like that, if you could get that certificate, normally they are fire-rated. But again, that's an answer we can't give you. That's something you have to do yourself. And I guess, John, would the fire marshal or building inspector be able to help them with that?
It would be the building inspector.
Building inspector.
Building inspector.
So other than that, I think Miss Monique has given you quite a break here, so.
Thank you very much.
Okay, I've got a motion, got a second. Any other comments from any of the board members? Let's call for the vote. All in favor signify by voting. Yes, sir, Walter, we're going to approve that 5-0 with all the recommendations.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Okay, John.
All right, variance case V25, Olivia B. Miller, requests a variance to allow an accessory structure, an existing approximately 216 square foot carport to be to the front of the principal building, and an existing approximately 96 square foot shed number 1 to be to the side of the principal building. Waive the rear setback from required 30 feet to 18 feet for the existing house. Waive the rear setback for an accessory structure under 144 square feet for an approximately 42 square foot accessory building number 1 from required 5 feet to 4 feet. Waive the setbacks for an accessory structure under 650 square feet for an approximately 192 square foot shed number 2 from required 35 feet to 0 feet adjacent to the rear property line and from required 10 feet to 0 feet adjacent to the northern property line. And to waive the side setback for the house from 10 feet to 5 feet along the south property line in land lot 514 of the 16th district. The property is located on the western side of Woodgate Court, north of Woodgate Drive. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case at B25? Please keep your hands raised. Is that 3? 3. Let the record show there are 3 people here opposed. All those wishing to address the board, please come forward to be sworn in.
All right, everybody's going to give testimony. Everybody come on up at one time, and we'll get you all sworn in. The applicant comes up first. You folks could have a seat right there in the front. All right, ma'am, before we get started, give us your name, please.
Olivia Miller.
Okay, Miss Miller, go ahead and tell us what you want now.
Well, I've been living in the neighborhood for 41 years, and I've had a 28-foot trailer on the side of my house on this driveway for about 20 years. And last year, since I retired, I purchased a 16-foot trailer to take my grandson camping, who's 4 years old. And I do have a old truck that's 12 years old, and it only has 88,000 miles, but I had to have a rebuilt engine, so I had to buy a new truck. So a certain neighbor is complaining that I have too many cars, and I want this camper covered. I'd like to show you what the camper cover in my yard looks like. This is from across Scott Road.
I tell you what, just wait a second. Let's get
Okay.
it up on the screen. Now you go ahead and explain.
There's
it
the
to us.
little trailer. It's only 16 feet long. It's a real tiny
I
little
tell
thing.
you what, we're going to give you a pointer and a microphone, and you can show us exactly what you're talking about. Come on, he'll show you how to do that, ma'am.
This is the trailer right here.
Yes, ma'am.
This yard is a gentleman that's over here to complain. It's looking down, there's a side road onto Scott Road, and this is looking across his yard into front of my house. And this is the little trailer cover. Like I said, it's the trailer's 16, the trailer cover's 18. I had it installed to match the eaves of the house. This is the way it looks on the side. This is my front yard. As you can see, the front yard is larger than anything else in my yard. And then it shows you a carport. And to the left of this driveway is where the trailer is, over in that area. And I just want to show you in the next neighborhood what has already been approved for trailer covers. Here's one about 60 feet long in the next neighborhood.
Well, you know, that doesn't really have a bearing.
Oh, it doesn't?
Well, we're just strictly concerned.
Concerned with mine?
With yours, ma'am.
Okay, I was just concerned that this
Right.
one's so tiny, and then to allow a 60-foot one.
There's no way that we know it's permitted or not permitted.
Oh, okay.
So we don't have any idea.
Okay. Well, my main concern is that the people who are complaining are, and it has nothing to do with either, I just want to get this improved. And whatever I have to do to keep the trailer there, because it's a real inconvenience. I'm too old to have to go pick it up. When you see, I have hundreds of pictures of the neighborhood, it's just that the people are complaining, one of the biggest violators themselves, and I just put it off, complaining about everybody else because it's the right thing to
Okay,
do.
Instead of who's complaining about what, I tell you, let's just stick to the issue now. You have 10 minutes. Tell us everything you want to tell us in 10 minutes. There is no rebuttal. If somebody gets up and says something different,
Okay.
there's no rebuttal. So you have your full time to tell us everything you want to tell us.
Okay, well, I would, offer to, I have a single driveway that goes into a two-car driveway under the carport.
Right.
I'd be willing to widen the carport as allowed, not the carport, the driveway, so that I could get cars next to it. I know that was a complaint, but over the cover, I just have nothing else to say. I just would like the cover left standing because I want to protect my trailer.
All right, there's some other issues there. You have a shed in the back that's on the property line. And
That's been there 32 years.
can you move that off the
Oh,
property?
no, it's,
Okay, I'm just asking these
Yeah,
questions.
it's been
I'm trying to
there
help you
32
here
years.
to give us more information. Is there anything else, you're asking for a whole list of different variances. Is there anything else you'd like to discuss?
no, I didn't ask for those other variances.
Well, let me explain that to
Okay.
you and the audience and our millions of viewers at home is, once the county gets involved with that, our staff goes through the whole property, and to bring it into compliance, they try to help you by putting all the problems all in one section, and that's why you probably have more than one variance here. So they're doing that to help you to get everything legal. And that would help you in the long run. 5 years from now, you decide to sell the house, they're gonna need those variances in order to clean the property up, how you can sell the house. So that's one of the reasons our staff takes the time to do that.
But those things that you say are out of compliance
Yes, ma'am.
now, you know, when I had the room built on the back, there was a permit. When I had everything else done, everything was in compliance at the time I applied for the permit.
Okay. Okay, that's fine. Anything else you want to tell us? Is there 2 travel trailers or just one travel?
One
trailer?
travel trailer. My son who stays there with me, has a pull-along trailer for utility trailer.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
So that's parked there also?
Yes, but I can move that. I can have that moved.
Okay, does he use that in a business or anything, ma'am?
He uses it, yes, well, it's a long story. My son has a doctorate looking for a job in literature. He uses it to sell on eBay, so that's what he does.
Okay. Well, you know, we can't conduct a business out of a private residence.
He doesn't have people coming and going or anything.
Okay.
It just, and like I talked to you, it can be removed.
Okay.
And could it be something, if I don't know what's gonna happen until you know, but does it help to build in a garage and keep a trailer in there to reduce the view of it?
All right, you're kind of
okay, I'm sorry.
You're kind of asking questions. At this time, you still can tell us anything else you want to
Well,
tell us.
I'm
'cause
sorry.
we have to
Okay.
listen. We're going to have to listen to the other side, too.
I'm trying to solve it,
Then-
I guess, before it.
Then Miss Williams is going to take over from there.
Okay,
So,
okay,
anything else you'd like to tell us, ma'am?
no,
All
I'm
right, if you
sorry.
would, just
Okay.
please have a seat, and we will listen to the opposition at this time. All right, sir, again, tell us your name for the record.
Carl Davis,
I'm sorry, Colonel?
Carl
Carl.
Davis,
Carl, okay. Yes, sir, go right ahead.
and I live across the court. I was the one that got this whole thing started.
Okay,
As
sir.
I put in the original complaint to the code enforcement, that there's 2 people living there. They've got 4 trucks, a car, a travel trailer, a utility trailer. It's an eyesore. It's the easiest way I can explain it. But to further that, I've brought some pictures that were taken from a different angle, namely from my driveway and my front door.
Okay, tell us what we're looking at, sir.
Okay, this is looking from my front door on February the 7th at 9:53 in the morning. You can see the 2 trucks that belong to her son are lined up there. One of her trucks is on the road, as is her car. The 4th truck is poked out of the carport at that site. We've got the travel trailer in plain view. If you look really hard, in front of the travel trailer is the little green utility trailer.
Okay, yeah.
This is what I look at each time I open my front door. Sometimes the view changes a little. Here we don't have the car on the road, and the one truck has backed back into the carport, so it's not visible.
Okay,
However, the green utility trailer is clearly visible. On some days, we're fortunate enough to see the utility trailer on the street. And that may stay there for 2 or 3 or 4 days. Sometimes with stuff in it, sometimes as we see it. This is my Sunday morning view as I go to get my newspaper. It looks like a used car lot. I'm sorry, that's an eyesore. I've heard this board discuss before hardship. I think the hardship in this case is on myself and the other neighbors that have to look at this continuously. The shelter over the travel trailer went up in October. That was kind of the final straw.
all right. Okay, sir, our next speaker. Anybody else wish to speak, come on forward.
I'm Jason Weeks. I live directly next to, well, if we got a site plan, I live at 2920, which is directly across from, next door to Carl. So my view is very similar. I'm a little bit lower down in a bit of a bowl, so I don't have as prominent of a view. However, when I pull my car out of the driveway, that's what I'm faced with every morning. We have other neighbors. I mean, when we start talking about the potential of resale value, that view for potential buyers when they come in, my neighbor next to me here, Hayes, is getting ready to go through that process at the moment. And so any home buyer coming to look at, a property is going to look and face their property and see all those vehicles parked there. There's 2 people living in that household with 5 vehicles that are shuffled around on a constant basis. There's a denial that at some point that the son even lived in the home. The interesting thing is that there's, if you look in the history of the code enforcement calls that have been made to the subdivision or into the cul-de-sac itself, I believe there's been 18 calls in the code enforcement history, all of which were initiated by Ms. Miller and or her son. Most of those were violations that code enforcement didn't bother to even write a citation. So the audacity of the phone calls being made to make complaints about our properties that are well kept and look well kept and maintained from the front of our homes, to have this many code violations, whether it's at the back of the house or the front of the house, I'm pretty certain that there wasn't a permit issued for the structure that went up, or it wouldn't have been permitted. I think that went up overnight without anybody's knowledge. So to have code enforcement sent to my home on more than one occasion where the code enforcement didn't see fit to file a citation, and then come to find out there's multiple violations on her property is a little bit discerning.
All right. Anything else you want to tell us?
No, I just, it'll be nice to not have to wake up and look at that every morning when I drive out of my driveway.
All right, sir, we have 5 minutes left. Anybody else wishing to speak? And again, your name, sir?
My name is Hayes Freeman. Hayes Freeman.
Okay.
I own 2910 Woodgate Court. Have owned it for about 12 years. Have not lived in it for the last 7 years. We moved 5 miles away at that time. We're not able to sell the house at that point. We bought in 07, 08, I can't remember the date, but it's probably 2010 when we left. Actually, I found out the hard way about code violation issues that something that I didn't know, I should have known, but I was renting to four roommates at my house. I found out by talking with the county because of a call that came in on me from, I'm not quite sure where, that I can't rent to groups of roommates. So I've decided to sell the house largely because when I rent that house or when I list it for rent, like 8 out of 10 callers are groups of roommates from KSU. We're pretty close to KSU. And that's my best tenants. And that's what I actually had for the last 7 years. Turns out I can't rent to them. So one of the reasons why I decided to sell was my best tenants I found out I'm not allowed to rent to those kind of tenants. And so I decided to sell the property. And actually, my real only issue personally is that when I drove down the street to assess the house and decide what I was going to do to it, I had not seen this new roof thing over the camper. And I will just tell you, when I drove down that street and got past the bushes and saw this roof thing, my heart literally sank because I was thinking, wow, the market has come back and I'm going to sell this house. And it was devastating. It felt like I was pulling into a trailer park. And that's actually the only reason I'm here is that is hideous. And when I found out that it's not proper with code for it to be there, I said, okay, I have to put my vote in that this is not, it's not okay. And the kind of like the code bit me, and I deserve to be protected by it if I need to be hurt by it too. So that's my story. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Freeman. Anybody else wishing to speak in opposition to this particular case? Hearing and not seeing anybody, Miss Judy Williams represents this district, so I'm going to turn it over to Miss Williams. Judy?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I went out several different times, talked to the neighbors, and I've talked to Miss Miller. One of the issues is, of course, the son parks his 2 red trucks. And it's unusual for us to have one other person to have 3 vehicles. And nobody was home the day I went, but I did go and look in your backyard, and I discussed that with you. And there's a lot of stuff back behind there. The two sheds behind there, they've been there for many years, and there's really no way to move them. You couldn't move those sheds or get them out from behind your house. The carport that's there in front of the house is an attractive. There's nothing wrong with the carport there. Your garage that you had originally, it looks like you enclosed it, and that's living space. So after talking to the neighbors, looking, and I went out several different times, and your son apparently does run some kind of a business, an eBay business or something there. And I think some of the items I saw in the back of your house, but those are code enforcement issues, not really for here today discussion. So to me, the issue would be removing your cover over your camper there in the front. You would have to remove that. Your camper can stay because it's on cement, but your cover, or the canopy, I call it a canopy, would have to be removed, and the son's trailer would have to be removed. And we talked about that, and you said you could remove it, get it off, because it's literally, the days I were out there, it was hanging in the street. So if there's any other discussion, I'm ready to make a motion.
No, we're okay with that. Go ahead, Judy. No, ma'am. That's where your 10 minutes comes in. This
No,
is not,
let me point out something that has a little bit, that's a fence that you see right there in front of the camper on the screen that we're looking at. The reddish color thing is
Okay, that's a
actually,
fence.
that's a fence.
Okay.
And it's not attached to the carport or anything. And it's the garbage, I believe. Yeah, the garbage cans is what I thought.
Judy, we also noticed, and I know when we had our work session, the DOT did discuss the fact that the green trailer was over in the right-of-way.
Yeah, and it'll have to be removed, and we
That
talked
would have to
about
be done
that.
immediately, because that's a
Yeah.
safety issue and
Yeah.
a safety hazard.
I talked to her about that, and she's aware of that it
Okay.
has to be removed. So my motion would be to remove the canopy over the existing trailer RV, to remove the trailer completely, which would be what your son uses to haul the utility trailer. That would have to be removed. The carport in the front, I would approve it. I would approve the 2 sheds in the back. John, am I covering everything?
You want to remove the 2 sheds in the back? Is that?
No, I'm approve those.
Okay, the way you want to do it, Ms. Williams, is you want to make a motion to reject number 1 and approve 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then add all your conditions regarding the trailers and everything.
Oh, okay. All right, that's what John said. You got that? And the other thing, I want to give you until May 31st to remove the carport, the canopy over that. I'll give you that. Your son, he needs to get those red trucks off of the right-of-way. Our streets are not parking lots, so he needs to remove those. And I think I covered everything. So with that would be my motion.
I'll second that.
Good. I have a motion. I have a second by Mr. Gunther. Any other comments from board members? This is not the first time we have removed canopies like this. Unfortunately, there's many dealers out there that go and put these things up, and they know that they need a permit to do these things. The ordinance calls there no carports or no canopies in front of a house, so those guys are well aware of that. But this is not an unusual situation. We've done this before. So I've got a motion. I've got a second. No other comments. I'll call for the vote. All signify by voting. Okay, we are going to recommend that we approve this based on Ms. Williams' condition to give the applicant till May the 31st to remove the carport canopy that's in the front of the property, and also to remove the trucks off the roadway. So utility trailer be moved immediately. Okay, with that said, that's a 5-0 vote. Thank you very much. John, where am I now?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. Variance case V31, Brightwater Homes. Request a variance to waive the maximum building height from required 35 feet to 42 feet in land lot 1186 of the 16th district. The property is located on the eastern terminus of Dickerson Road, south of Lakeshore Way. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V31?
One person.
Let the record show there's one person opposed. All those wishing to address, two people, let the record show there's two people opposed. All those wishing to address the board, please come forward to be sworn in.
Those that are going to give testimony, come forward and be sworn in, or forever hold your peace. Okay, sir, you know the drill. Give us your name, please, first.
All right, Charlie Bostwick. I'm with Brightwater Homes.
Charlie who?
Charlie Bostwick.
Boswick.
I'm with Brightwater Homes, and I'm representing the property owner,
Okay.
who are the Carlins.
Tell us what you want.
We have started construction on this home when we learned that there is an issue based on the interpretation of the code in terms of the height. And so we would like to present our case on this. If I could start with this. Here, this is just a site plan that demonstrates how far back the house is from the street. And so this is an unusual case for several reasons. One is that it's more than 300 feet back from the street. It is a house in a 10-lot newly developed subdivision, not an existing neighborhood. The house, the basement level of the house is more than 20 feet down from the street, and it sits behind a pond. Because of the topo of the lot and the restrictions due to the pond and the distance back from the street and that sort of thing, the only way the house would sit on the lot is the way it's been done here. We have built it exactly how we permitted it in terms of how the grading works and that sort of thing. I think it just wasn't apparent to everyone how the grades, what that meant in terms of consequences of the height of the building. And so I think all of us, including the building inspector, were surprised when he saw it and contemplated the interpretation of the code. This is a picture, if I could, thank you, standing in the middle of the cul-de-sac facing this home. And this is taken at my height, holding the camera at eye level, so you can see the relationship of this house to the street. So even though the front of the house is taller than the other homes in the neighborhood, the roof structure is actually below every other home that will be built in the neighborhood. So it sits well below. And then as you well, just I want to point out one thing, because I do know that we have a neighbor who's been super patient with us because they live by our rear construction entrance, and they've got real concern because they have a house that backs up to the next lot over, and they have an understandable concern that this could be precedent setting, and I hope you can assure them tonight that it wouldn't be, but I wanted you to understand that perspective as well. This is a picture of their home standing in the same cul-de-sac looking across that next lot, which is lot 8. And so if, whatever you can do to assure them that this isn't precedent setting for that.
Tell me where the picture was taken from.
This is taken from the exact same spot, standing in the middle of the
okay.
cul-de-sac,
I see.
looking a different direction. And so, again, they've been very patient because it's near the construction entrances, goes by their house, and they've had extra traffic there, and we've had delivery trucks that have frankly been annoying to them, understandably, and one of them slid off the road and damaged some shrubs, which we've of course agreed to take care of and re-landscape this area and do the right thing. But they have appropriate concerns about precedent setting, which we think this is such a different home because the other one will sit right up on the setback versus being 300 feet back. The other home will sit with the typical topo where the basement is lower than the front yard, front door, and daylight's to the rear. So it's the normal as opposed to this one, which is very different. And it'll sit at a normal street height as opposed to sitting way back and way down. So we do have the approval of all the contiguous landowners that are around there. So we have their approval, and that's been submitted, and we do have all their support. They understand the situation. In fact, in a lot of ways, this was better for them than if we had tried to force something with the basement in the rear of the home and filled the front up with dirt and would have actually had the home higher had we done that, even though it would meet the code as written. There were two other things I just want to mention, just because I understand there may be comments to this from different departments. They're, in our opinion, not related at all to this variance. But since there were comments from some of the departments, I want to address those briefly. One is there's this question about COs being issued before paving, and we've been assured by the county that if we have homes finished and we're ready to go, that that's not going to be an issue. But the county has had a delay in repaving the street up to this section. We went, our position is that we've made it a public road with emergency vehicle turnaround area, and I don't want to make the whole case for this because I don't think it's relevant, but fire trucks can get back there, but it's not an ideal situation for them, and I don't want to relate the two, but I know there was a comment on that. And the other, there's a restriction for, because that driveway is so long and the house is so far down, there's concern that emergency vehicle being that far off the road would need to be able to get to the home, and so we're required to have wider driveway, and the slope is limited to an 18% maximum grade, and we're absolutely in support of that. That's on the permit already. We've agreed to it. It's the right thing to do, and that's not an issue whatsoever. But just in case those comments made it to you, I wanted to make sure that those were addressed. Again, emphasize that fitting with the character and architecture of the neighborhood, the height of the home really needs to be this high. Caught us all off guard because our engineer and architect interpreted the code a little differently, and I think it wasn't apparent when the permit was issued by the county folks, which is understandable. Then I also want to emphasize that, again, all the contiguous property owners have approved this, and we have their signatures that have been submitted to you. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Thank you. If you would just please have a seat. All right, those in opposition, if they would please come forward, we'll listen to their comments. Hey, give us your name, please.
Hello, my name is Cynthia LeMay,
LeMay.
and I'm actually here also representing my mom, June Pierce. She's seated on this right side here,
Okay.
4 rows back.
Yeah.
And my mom, June Pierce, lives at 133 Lakeshore Drive, which is the contiguous lot that we were talking about to Crossvine. I actually, at the introduction of my parents, married the guy next door, so I live next door to her at 123 Lakeshore Drive. So Mom always knows best. I wanted to come today, and I wanted to express my concerns about this variance setting a precedent for other lots within Crossvine. I did want to acknowledge in my appreciation of Brightwater Homes. They've been very open to communication, and I do appreciate what they've done to try to communicate with us and keep us in the loop as far as what's going on. That being said, I wanted just to show some pictures of the lot that's contiguous to my mom's lot. And the topography, it's being built up a little bit. This is where the construction trailer was. So my mom's lot would be behind this, and then this is...
Is that house your mom's house we're looking at?
No, that's the new house on the cul-de-sac of
Okay.
Crossvine. This, which is taken right behind that, that has my mom's house behind it.
Okay.
So, I know from my perspective, I know I'm a little confused about the ordinance, exactly how it works as far as the variance for the height. And, I can actually see this house from my house, which is 2 houses away. That's a picture of the home. But certainly a house of that height next to my mom's house would be a major concern for us, and it would negatively impact her home value. My further concern is the project manager for Brightwater has told us that Lot 8, the one next to my mom's, is unbuildable with a current 35-foot setback that I've had discussions with John Peterson about. And my dad, before he passed away, was just relieved to have gotten this 35-foot setback defined, that would stay in place. So I really just wanted to go on the record to say, I'm hoping this variance, if it is approved, doesn't pave the way for a future acceptance of the height of this home anywhere else within Crossvine, or affect the ability to do other variances that might affect setbacks or other issues. I know that Charlie mentioned the construction entrance. We are all praying that the widening of Dickerson happens soon. Living with this construction entrance has been a nightmare coming through our neighborhood. It started 3 years ago, and it's continued. I've been very thankful to have Brian and other people get back to me with information that it is supposed to hopefully start in June, but we've had people ringing my parents' doorbell at 7 in the morning trying to do deliveries. We've had trucks up her driveway that have destroyed her driveway, and Charlie's been very helpful in communicating with me about this. So, I know he mentioned that, and that's not really for today's discussion, but more concerned about just this variance setting a precedent of having any other home that would be this height, because it is quite large and is visible from all of our homes. Any questions?
No, you still have a period of time. You just keep telling us. We're not going to ask you any questions till we hear from everybody.
Okay. I just, we're just concerned about variances. And my biggest concern and question is, if this did or did not need a variance. I've heard different things that it did or didn't based on the median of the mean to from the top level. And so I just wanted to express our concern of setting a precedent for anything that would be similar to that within the rest of this subdivision.
In the future. Okay.
All right.
Anybody else wishing to speak in opposition? Come forward, please.
Hello, I'm Stuart Keaton. I live at 132 Lakeshore Drive. And my house is right next to the property. If you look at the end of where that is, if you move your mouse down and to the left, I'm right over here where the construction entrance is. So a little bit further down, you'll see. Keep going to the right.
That's you.
That's June. I'm on the other side. Other way, yeah, there you go, that's me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm there, I'm hidden, but I'm there.
Is there a house there?
It
Yeah,
is,
looks like it's
believe it or not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Google found us too. So
Camouflage.
it is. Yeah, so, what we're here to address is a variance, correct? And I have to applaud the inspector that came out that looked at this, because the way the rule's written, I can see the interpretation that was originally put down from the curb level and how high it's supposed to be, but this is a unique circumstance because the house is so far back off of the curb that you actually use the mean of the front porch, which makes it 42 feet. So, interpretation, right? It's a beautiful home, it's awesome, it's big. I don't per se have an issue with the variance for the house itself at 7 feet. It's okay. But there are a couple of things that are a little disconcerting about this. Number one, doesn't look like, based on the pictures that I saw and what's up here, is that they've really waited for a decision by this panel. Also, we've been dealing with this for 3 years. And we have a construction entrance that comes right by our house. I've had my son's basketball goal hit 4 or 5 times. They have cars parking. They start at 6 a.m. It's a pain. So what I would like to see, and what would be very helpful, is to have all posted things that should be posted there. There are no postings. They've all fallen down. All of their setbacks that they have in their fences, they've all eroded away. So if we wanted to see what the height of this house was, there's no plan there. Not in the box, not that I've seen. So just a little bit more responsibility on their side to help us. You know, and again, I know that each property is different, and this should not and will not set a precedence as far as I'm concerned. And also, there was a mention of all adjoining property signatures. I never signed anything for this. So that's, so that's inaccurate. I don't know what he's talking about, but I'd love to see your list. Other than that, for the postings, because of the way the neighborhood is, I have a feeling there are probably other adjoining property owners that don't realize this, because where the signs were posted for the variance is right in the cul-de-sac. The houses that are actually affected are going to be the ones back over here on Kings Row and over in our neighborhood where there's no variance posted whatsoever. So not very visible to anyone else that's truly affected by it. I'm surprised to not see some people here that I thought would be here about that. So, but for the house itself and the variance, I think that, you know, 7 feet is fine as long as it does not set a precedence.
Okay, anything else you want to add to that?
That's all I got.
All right. Anybody else wish to speak in opposition to case V31? Hearing and not seeing anybody, Mr. Bryant McDaniel is the representative of that district. And I tell you, before I turn it over to you, Brian, John, let me have you jump in here. He talked about the timing of this. Has this come timely before us?
Yes.
It has. So when it was applied for, it went through the normal process and we got it in a timely manner. Is that correct?
You got it in a timely manner.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify that up. Generally, the staff doesn't hold anything up. It's, we're really right on top of it. So with that said, Brian, I want you to take over from here, sir. These,
Right.
okay, for the folks that want to hear what we're saying is the signatures that are on the screen right now are the surrounding property owners. Is that correct, Judy?
It's my understanding that these.
Turn your microphone on.
It's my understanding that this is what he submitted to the zoning department, the signature of the adjacent property owners.
And again, before Brian jumps into this, there's been a question about cases that may come before us in the future. Each case is decided on an individual basis. Each applicant has to show a particular hardship. That's based on the variance board's decision as the hardship that these people are forced to go through. So we take all that into consideration. With all that said, Brian, you take over for us.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do have a couple of process questions, I guess, before I would call anybody back up, but I want to thank everybody for providing their comments today. And I think, you know, Bridgewater does understand the concerns, and so I appreciate Cynthia and Stuart sharing those concerns about, you know, the variance and the precedent that it might set. My process questions, and John, I may direct these at you for right now. When it comes to the adjacent neighbors being aware of, you know, the variance application, do we send something out to them as well as having the posting in the front?
For variance cases, we post a sign at the public road at the property, which was properly done here.
Right.
Dickerson Road is their frontage, and that's where the sign was posted, so that was proper. Secondly, Mr. Boswick did get the signatures of the adjoining property owners who actually touched this property. You know, there's no requirement for neighbors who are outside of the property boundaries to get any kind of signatures, you know. And Mr. Keeneland, I believe, and Ms. LeMay, you know, they're outside the boundaries of this particular lot, so that's why their signatures were not required on this petition.
I was just wondering, because of the way this cul-de-sac sits, the point Mr. Stewart raised, you know, the neighbors in the other neighborhoods around it might not be aware of that posting, and that's why I just wasn't sure how they would be notified.
Well, those two neighbors, well, the neighbor on Kings Row was notified, and there are two signatures on the petition from Kings Row.
All right. And the other one may be, I think it's out of scope for our hearing here today, but the things that Charlie brought up about the engineer and the architect's interpretation about code, I'd like to think that, you know, we can do something that will ensure that engineers and architects are clear as to exactly how to interpret the code before the building process has begun. So I would just encourage, I guess, you guys to get together at some point to talk about it and make sure that, to the extent that we can make sure the code is clear to everybody and we don't have engineers confused and architects confused, that might be helpful going forward. Is that reasonable?
As far as the way the interpretation goes, the way the county interpreted it is correct. This is a real oddball situation, and,
Yeah, I know
to
you
tell you
can't
the truth, I'm not really sure when we had the last variance for a house height
Yeah.
here, it's been
Yeah.
years. But this is a real oddball situation.
And I know we can't write code for every situation either, but I just want to make sure that the code is clear enough so that hopefully engineers and
It's
architects.
as clear as it could be, but it is
Can be on the
it is
front
hard to
end.
read sometimes.
All right, well, from the drawings, I'll say that it looks like this is going to be a really nice-looking home. I still can't help but feel the hardship here might have been avoided, but it's hard to say, really who should take the blame for that. It is what it is, but I do see a mitigating factor in the topography of the lot and the lower part of the home sitting below street level, and that the roof height will therefore not tower above the roofs of the adjacent homes in the neighborhood. So, Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve of the application in case V31, subject to the building elevation contained in the variance analysis and the fire department comments.
Okay, I've got a motion. A motion, do I have a second to that motion?
I'll second.
Monty seconds it. Any comments from fellow board members before we take the vote? Ms. Williams?
I have just one question. If you could put back up that picture of the house. Yeah, just the house. I have a question as to exactly, to point out where the code violation is. Okay, so are we talking about the point up here where it goes to 42 feet?
Pull it down a little bit, Courtney. There you go, there you go.
Up here at the eve, is it the 42, John?
It's shown on the picture about where the 42 feet is.
42 is the height.
The way we figure the maximum height is, it's a mean of
From
the
the mean
roof.
level, right.
From the bottom of the roof to the top of the roof, so it's halfway up the roof.
Okay, so it's, yeah, okay, I see now. So this variance would be for that portion only?
7 feet for the roof height, yeah.
Yeah, for that portion only, right?
Well, it's for the house that's shown in.
Shown
below.
here, yeah.
Right, that's all they're asking for, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, any other comments? All right, I've got a motion, I've got a second. Time for vote, all in favor, or vote, just signify by voting. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be a 5-0 vote for approval. John, do you have any other comments to make or anything else today?
That completes your agenda, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, before we leave, ladies and gentlemen, we've got to approve the minutes from February the 27th meeting. I'll entertain a motion on those.
Make a motion to approve them for the February 27th and the March 13th.
March 13th.
As
Okay.
presented.
And I'll second that motion.
All in favor signify by voting. We all got to get used to voting. Okay, it's 5-0. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, all our fans at home, thank you. We'll see you next month.
Hey, Charlie,